All right, so for those who haven't been shopping here since the beginning, or at least can I help you?
No.
I'm speaking. Or for at least for any folks who haven't been shopping here for at least I don't know what's in about 4 years, 2009. There was a time when the checklists were a bit small, the checklists that we give out every week. And we used to have little things. What's the matter, Steve Martinez? What?
I said I remember those. Those were so funny.
No, there you go. Steve remembers. They were so funny.
Somebody remembers.
So what we used to do was we used to do CBJ's.
You remember laughter?
Did you know?
You remember laughter?
That were at the bottom of them. We also used to do Comic Book Jones Presents, quick ways to get out of crappy dates.
And then my favorite. Next is my favorite.
And then we used to do Comic Book Jones Presents Helpful Hints. And lastly, we used to also do Tiger's Tips for Kicking Ass.
That always usually ended in the picture of you two facing off.
All of which were written by me. So I figure I'd have a couple of samples here for you. No, I purposely picked the ones I wrote.
Oh, I know. You can tell the ones I wrote, they didn't make you laugh.
So,
thank you, Steve.
First CBJ did you know was, did you know that if you stand in a darkened room and stare into a mirror while repeating Waffle Jones 99 times, a bat out of hell era meatloaf will appear in the reflection and show you the proper way for a long-haired young man to flip his hair back when putting on a baseball cap. Another did you know was, did you know that Papa Jones wrote and drew the very first comic book while lost at sea but destroyed it in a fit of rage? Yet another did you know. Did you know that before becoming Mr. Marvel Comics, Stan Lee was a pimp in Hunts Point, Bronx? I was just a kid back then, but we knew him as Stan the Pimpin' Man back in the day. But when he started all that funny book shit, he had to drop the pimpin' and just go with Stan the Man, said Don Magic Wand with a smile. Stan invented most of the pimp terminology we still use today. For instance, he was the first to call the streets a hoe was working the track. And he was the first cat I ever heard tell a hoe, bitch, you out of pocket. Stan was a pimp and is still the pimp of the decade.
Wow.
Yeah, another did you know? Did you know that Tiger Jones was Tennille's original captain? He was later replaced because of his outlandish attire. Did you know that? Did you know that if you try to search for information on the original Twilight Zone TV series on the web, nothing comes up? Weird, huh? Now we move on to Comic Book Jones presents quick ways to get out of crappy dates. Number one.
Taking notes.
Did Waffle break another chair?
No.
Oh, all right.
I didn't jump this time.
While sitting at the table at a restaurant, excuse yourself and go to the restroom. Wait about 5 to 7 minutes. Open the restroom door just enough to stick your head out and yell, "Could somebody come wipe me, please?" That crappy date is over. Now, at the end of all these, you guys can all say, "That crappy date is over." All right.
Say it one time.
That crappy date is over. All right. Comic Book Jones presents, once again, quick ways to get out of crappy dates. Dates.
J-dates.
This one is for Kenny Sheeble. If you're a Jew.
You're a Jew all the way.
There you go. From the first yarmulke to your last Oh man! See, my brother one time we made up a song while we were doing a mailing for his own band. It was to the tune of in my room by the Beach Boys, and it was in my room, and it was Join Joe Franklin, Billy Crystal, Dustin Hoffman too. They're all Jews. Why not you? Then the next verse was, read the Torah, spin the dreidel, share a matzah or two. Be a Jew. Why not you? Alright, so, quick ways to get out of crappy dates. Number 2. While driving to or from a destination, keep scratching your crotch and smelling your fingers. Be sure to make a sour face after smelling them. If this alone does not work, offer your fingers to your date to smell. That crappy date is over. Next one. While sitting at the bar having a cocktail with your date, ask him or her if they would like to see something really, really funny. Once they inevitably reply, oh God, yes, of course. Ask them to close their eyes until you tell them to open them. Take out a hand mirror, place it in front of their face, and ask them to open their eyes. Point and laugh at their reflection for a long and loud laugh, as long as you can. Then toss the mirror across the room and skip out the door. That crappy date is over. You guys enjoying this?
Yes.
Woo!
This was free weekly.
Exactly. This now, we're moving on to Comic Book Jones Holiday. Did you know?
Oh shit.
Did you know that the
Wait, the typeface is red and green.
Yeah, exactly. I got really special. Did you know that the 1964 Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer TV special was produced entirely at an NBC sweatshop in Southeast Asia? Did you?
Rankin and Bass?
Did you?
I do now.
Oh, there you go.
That could be true. The more you know.
I'll finish. As a matter of fact, all of the bumble's fur was plucked from the heads of overworked 4 to 10-year-old children whose hair had gone white with fear. Happy holidays, Comic Book Jones. Another. I've got another holiday. Did you know? Did you know that Steven Seagal spends the entirety of the holidays in a sensory deprivation chamber? Happy holidays! Do you want me to continue? Yeah. Come on, do you want me to continue? Yeah. All right, this one's a little bit weird. This one is from the one and only file of Comic Book Jones Presents Helpful Hints. Before hanging framed photos and works of art in your home or office, be sure to follow this helpful hint. Push all the nails and/or screws you will use into a raw potato that has been gently rubbed with Gold Bond medicated powder. Then place that spud in a poorly lit window for 3 to 7 seconds. Take it out quickly! And put it back in the window for about 22 minutes and 8 seconds. Remove the nails and/or screws and lay them out in order of hammering. Get the items you will hang. Hang them. You won't believe how great it or they will look. Be careful, friends, and remember, I'm always here for you. Love, soccer. And now we move on. We move on to another topic that we had on the back of the checklists. Tiger's tips for kicking ass.
Yeah!
Woo! When you get into an all-out brawl in an old age home.
Wow, that perfectly fits his current personality.
But here's the funny thing. I read this earlier. Wait till you hear the rest of it. I read this early, and it's so funny that he brought like how he hates the elderly up on the podcast. when you get into an all-out brawl in an old age home filled with terrorists, always remember that the elderly are expendable. Use them to your advantage. For instance, if you are being chased down one of those long old age home corridors by, say, 15 Taliban, grab the closest wheelchair-bound senior you can find, toss your dynamite-filled backpack in his or her lap, turn him or her around so they are facing you, and push them down the hall toward the bad guys and fire one shot from your gun at the backpack just as he or she rolls into the terrorists. Let out your best tiger roar and boom! God bless America and our elderly. Now you're kicking ass tiger style.
Tiger style.
Now at the end of this one, everybody's got to say, now you're kicking ass tiger style. All right.
Tiger style.
So our next tiger tip for kicking ass. Always carry one grenade on you that is a dud. Believe it or not, sometimes they are more useful than a live one. For example, let's say you are out for Mother's Day dinner with your mom, and while you're eating, roughly 15 to 25 drunk people at the restaurant decide to start trouble with you and your mom.
Oh shit.
Obviously, mom's safety is a priority, and here is where that dud grenade comes in handy. Try and calm the mob down verbally first, which is actually a clever ruse because while performing this misdirection, you will be reaching for the dud and a roll of duct tape from your backpack. Quickly shove the grenade to the side of your mom's head and secure it there with duct tape.
Oh no.
Jesus Christ.
Now, and this is important, be sure the entire mob is paying attention to you. Attention to this next part. Pull the pin and swallow it in full view. Then grab your mom and hurl her toward the drunken bastards and watch them flee in terror. Once they are gone, revive your shaken parent and your grenade. Don't forget. Sadly, you won't see the pin for at least 8 hours. Sit down and have a great Mother's Day meal. God bless America, and God bless holidays created by greeting card companies. Now you're kicking ass tiger style. And the last portion of Socko Topics this evening is another Tiger's Tips for kicking ass.
Ooh.
It's a very short and simple one, and I think it's probably the most important. When smashing the bridge of a washed-up action celebrity's nose on your knee, be sure to take the opportunity to showboat a little. Now you're kicking ass tiger style. And that was a Socko Topic. Thank you very much.